Welcome to your online coffee break, where we discuss bite-sized topics that inspire, educate, and entertain. Here's your host, a software innovator, award-winning marketer, and astronomy and space buff, Chuck Fields.
Hello, thanks for joining me today for your online coffee break. Today I'd like to welcome my special guest, country singer and songwriter Savannah Nider. Savannah recently released her empowering inspirational single, We Are Us, and the response has been incredible. Her amazing voice has been compared to Carrie Underwood and Trisha Yearwood. Savannah was born and raised in Pawnee City, Nebraska, so she's a small-town girl with a big voice that's making waves now on the Nashville scene.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Online coffee break.
Savannah, thank you so much for joining me today. Really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
I tell you, I've been loving your new single, We Are Us. The music is great. The lyrics are positive, very inspirational. I just wonder if you could tell our audience a little bit about the meaning behind it.
Absolutely. I love We Are Us. The more I keep listening to it and the more I keep watching my lyric video on YouTube, I just think it's absolutely fantastic, especially, for what we're going through right now with, we just had a tornado hit recently and, we've got this coronavirus going on, but, it has such a broad meaning. And I love that because people can interpret it in their own way. When you hear We Are Us, it could be about family. It could be about, a loved one. It could be, about music in general. It could be, whatever you want it to be. And that is what I like so much about it. Mm-hmm. When you think about your own life, I connect with it in my own way, but also I know that it can impact others in their own way. And that is what I thought was so cool about the song.
It is great. And the video is great. I love how the video, how the lyrics are going across it, just the way you convey that. And it's just so powerful. And you're right. We all have something in common, and We Are Us certainly conveys that. Now, I want to talk about this amazing, incredible past that you have. Now, you describe yourself as just a small-town girl. I understand you grew up in a small town, Pawnee City, Nebraska, population less than 1,000 people. Can you tell us where sort of your passion for music began?
Yes. So I was very interested with music at a very, very young age and was exposed to it at a very young age. I always started singing when I was about 2 or 3 years old. So it started pretty early.
That is early.
Yes. But as I kind of got older and I got to about 9 or 10 years old, my dad was very active in a band. And that is really where my first exposure to music kind of started. I got that stage exposure and I got to perform with my dad a little bit. I went and watched him every Saturday. Yeah, it was so much fun. And he was just in a local band and went around all the towns around my hometown. And I just had a blast. And that is where I really got exposed to different genres of music. And then eventually, the band was like, you know what, she needs to come up here and sing. So I was definitely exposed to, the stage presence at a young age. And that is where I just fell in love with music. And ever since I got older, I started to take it more seriously and more seriously.
Well, yeah, so, how old were you when you first went out and performed for the first time? Do you remember?
I was honestly probably about 9 years old,
my gosh.
Actually performing in front of people. Some of the crowds were smaller, but, I also did talent shows at that age. And whether it was just around my town or I was doing the Star Spangled Banner for like some baseball games or, so I did start at a very young age. And I think, performing in my dad's band at such a young age definitely influenced, the way I perform today. I don't have that stage fright. And I think a lot of that had to do with, just having fun in my dad's band, and I got positive feedback. And I think that definitely gained my confidence, just performing in front of people in general.
Well, that's awesome. And having fun is what it's about. Now,
absolutely.
What about some of your musical influences? Do you remember sort of the first ones?
Oh, yes. Yes, definitely. So I tell everybody, definitely Shania Twain and Celine Dion.
Oh, very nice. Yeah.
Those were my favorite artists growing up, especially because that's who my mom was always listening to. And I really connected with Celine Dion kind of in a deeper level because I was so fascinated and so attracted to the way she sang all of her songs and the way she had so much emotion. And that is what I really became very attached to. And so as I got older, like I wanted to be just like her. I wanted everybody to just connect with the way I sang and the messages that I put across in my songs. So definitely those two. And, still today, I mean, they're always on my playlist in the car or when I'm singing in the shower or whatever it is. They are my absolute favorite. Yes.
Wow. Now that is awesome. Now you mentioned obviously you started performing at a very young age, but I understand sort of a transition happened when you're around 15 years old. What happened there? Describe that a little bit.
Yeah, so that's more when I actually went into the studio for the first time. I was very blessed to be connected with Collin Raye's piano player. His name was Geno LeSage. Yeah. And he was the one that I became very close with. And, he did pass away in a tragic accident a couple years ago. But that is where I got my first studio experience. In Paradise, California is where I went. And I actually cut an album of 10 songs. And that was where the first time I went to the studio, I figured out how the recording went, how the studio process was. I mean, I didn't know how any of that worked until I got that experience. And so that is where I did my first recording of my first album. Yeah. And then it just kind of bloomed from there. As I got older, I still went to school, was still in high school. And then I started to just go into the studio a lot more. Whether it was on my spring breaks, summer breaks, Christmas breaks, it was very difficult, being in a small town and trying to do music more seriously. But we made it work. And then, after I graduated from college, I took the leap of faith and moved to Nashville, and here I am now. So
I was going to ask, now you just moved to Nashville with your husband. Was it just last year? I mean, what's that transition been like to all of a sudden you're in the heart of country music down there? What's that like?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely been a change, coming from such a small town and then wanting to pursue this more seriously. Yeah, I moved to Nashville in March of last year, so I've been here for about a year.
Wow.
And it has been, it's been super great so far. Obviously it's been a change, just all different aspects of life. Obviously the traffic is a lot different.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Definitely, I'm just like, oh my gosh, that was definitely a change, but just the atmosphere has been fantastic and getting to meet more people and meet songwriters and other people in the music business. And it's been awesome. I really can't complain, but, I'm still, connected with my family back home and I call them every day. And it's been really good so far.
Oh, see, that's wonderful. And speaking of your family back home, I was impressed and also so sorry to hear this, that when you first started, your career started taking off, that you sort of lost your biggest fan, your grandma.
Yes.
I understand she was quite an inspiration to you and your music. I was just wondering, how did she encourage you and keep you going?
Yeah, absolutely. Growing up, we lived the closest to my grandparents. I mean, literally, we were 3 miles from them.
Wow.
So we were super close. My siblings and I were very close to them. And, when my parents were at work, that was the house we went to after school. They watched us, helped us with our homework, and also just my grandparents became very exposed to my music, and we would just sing around their house. And so my grandparents became very involved with my music, especially my grandma. And she was always kind of the strict one, and she was always the one, that said, Savannah, just as you get older, like pursue this, like don't stop, just keep going. And so as I got older and I was more involved with music, whether it was school or more professionally, she was always there at all of my events, never missed anything. And
that's great.
So I became super close with her just on a more like emotional, deeper level. And so just as I got older, and then of course, when she passed away, my grandpa has kind of taken over that role for her.
Okay.
And, when I did my EP in November with We Are Us, he got to be there, which was absolutely incredible. And so just to see him there, be with me, I mean, it felt like she was there too.
See, I think that's wonderful. And speaking of that, I mean, when you recorded that EP, I understand, was this your first time your family and friends were actually watching the magic outside the studio glass? I mean, what was that like to have them there?
It was so, I mean, it's so fantastic. You know, when I first started recording, when I was about 14 or 15 years old, my parents were also there. They have always been there with me every step of the way. When it came to starting in the recording studio. They were always there. And it's just great to have that support system. So, you know, when I went into, you know, the recording studio in Nashville, it was a little bit different just because I was older. I was doing it way more professionally. I was with a different group of people. So every time I would do something different, you know, my family never hesitates to want to be involved.
Excellent.
So when I did this EP in November, you know, I had my parents there, my husband was there, my grandpa was there. I mean, just, you know, and just being in that recording box and then, you know, looking through the glass and I see them just smiling and bopping their heads and talking to all the musicians. And it's just awesome because it makes it that much more fun and it just makes it such a humbling experience.
Yeah.
And I can't thank my family enough for being there with me every step of the way.
See, that's wonderful that they've been there. And obviously it's impacting you so much on that. Now, about your EP, when will it be released?
So yeah, we released We Are Us in February, and then I recorded 2 other songs, and those will be released in the months to come. You know, we're working with We Are Us, see the impact that it can get, and then we'll move on to another one. So I can't wait to release the other 2, and those will be in the months coming up. So I'm excited for that as well. Yeah.
See, that's wonderful. Now being in Nashville, I got to ask, obviously it's a huge music scene. Is that like really helping with the creativity part of it? Like, how do you keep these awesome songs coming out?
Absolutely. You know, I had visited Nashville, you know, growing up, but until I actually moved here and got to meet, you know, more people actually active in the music business, I mean, it definitely, you know, changes the way, you know, maybe you think or how you're going to go about your music, but other people inspire you. And, you know, I've met some really, really cool people here in Nashville, whether they're a songwriter or just a musician or they just sing vocally. I mean, it definitely gets those wheels turning a little bit. And so as you continue into the music industry, I mean, the one thing that I just keep telling myself is just to be myself, you know, just be myself, you know, go about music the way that I want, that's going to make me feel good about myself. So, I mean, obviously, yes, I've met some great people here, but the one thing I just keep telling myself is just to be me, you know?
See, I love that. And I was going to ask too, obviously there's some other people out there that listen to this, they're into music. Perhaps they're wanting to become a star, become as successful as you are one day. What advice would you give to them?
I mean, just to be you. I mean, that's what I've really learned, you know, starting at such a young age. I mean, you meet some people who, you know, maybe aren't out there for the right reasons to help you, or you do meet some people in the music industry that will stick by you. And I have been very blessed ever since I have moved to Nashville. I have met a couple people who have really stuck by me and have just been, such great supporters to me. I mean, one of them, her name is Joey Scott, and she's a songwriter here, and she just pretty much took me under her wing and just really just became such an awesome friend to me. And then my producer, his name is Brian Cole, out of Pittsburgh, and he has been absolutely fantastic as well, and just has lifted my spirit so much. And so, you know, it just makes the process that much more fun and that, you know, just absolutely great. And so the one advice I could give out to people is just to be yourself, because being recognized for who you are as a person, I mean, that's the best compliment you can ever get. And I truly believe that. So, I mean, you know, go about music the way you want. Don't let anybody, you know, push you around. And if it makes you happy, then that's all that matters, you know?
That is so true. And speaking of lifting the spirits, your song We Are Us certainly does that. I just want to congratulate you on that. We're so excited about your EP coming out soon. And I just want to thank you again for joining us today. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Online coffee break.
Wow, I really enjoyed speaking with Savannah today. I hope you did too. And I'm loving her new song, We Are Us. Check it out. If you'd like to learn more about her, just go to her website at savannahnidermusic.com. I want to thank Savannah for joining me today. I want to thank you for joining me as well. If you'd like to share this topic with a friend, we'd sure love it. Just help us get the word out about Savannah's awesome music. If you have any other comments, we'd sure love to hear them too. Just leave them on our website at onlinecoffeebreak.com. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you next time. God bless.